Hi, I'm Geoffrey Gorman. I'm at the Jane Sauer Gallery on Canyon Road in Santa Fe, New Mexico. My exhibition, Second Nature, is on right now through the month of June 2011. I'm going to give you a little walkthrough of some of the pieces in the show. The first piece I'm going to show you is a giant anteater that I just made. One thing you'll notice in this show is that my work is more to, let's say, actual scale of the work. So this is a giant anteater, and this is literally how big they are. They're quite large, but I don't think they really look like this. I don't think they have mountain bike tires on their back, and I don't think they have old springs from screen doors hanging off them. But he is my interpretation of what a giant anteater might look like. You can see in the back there he's got electrical tape for his tail. This piece right here, this is what I would call a triptych. It's two pieces. I think of it as one piece. What I'm doing here is the dog on the right is just jumping up and starting to run, and the dog here on the left is kind of in mid-stride. My inspiration for this is that photographer Edward Muybridge, who did stop-action photographs of people and animals walking. So it's one piece, but it's the different articulations of how a dog might run. Often with the animals I work with, when they're in motion, we don't really see what they look like. So I'm really breaking down their action and their movement. This piece here is based on a trip I took to Southeast Alaska, and there's an island that we go to. It's kind of like Bear Island, but when we went to the island to look for the bears, we ended up hanging out with a family of river otters. And so it was really delightful to spend the afternoon looking at these otters playing. This piece is based on that. Now, what I've done here is I've wrapped the forms with old mountain bike inner tubes. And I think that it's pretty evocative in terms of giving that almost submarine shape. And you can see in the tails how that's not covered, and you get a sense of maybe what's underneath them. The base here is made from, people are giving me a lot of old tin cans now. So I'm using and trying not to get rid of all the color, so it's bringing in a little bit more color, and you can see I also highlighted on their ears. I've started doing more shorebirds and larger birds. This is a roseated spoonbill, which we are lucky enough to see down in Florida and down in the south. What happened with this guy, though, is his legs are kind of long, and when he went through the mangrove swamps and things like that, it was almost like his legs were magnetic because they attracted all these metallic kind of talisman and old springs and old washers and things like that. The other thing that he has here, which is I love, is mountain bike inner tubes have these protectors made out of this this material that has kind of an amber feel to it. So that's what his plumage is right here. And then you can see his little tail feathers. They're made from old electrical wiring. And he's got some old tools and some springs, and here's a door closer right here. He's accumulated quite a bit in his travels. The final pieces I did for the show, I was looking around my studio and I noticed that I had a bunch of old croquet balls that somebody had given me, antique wooden balls. And I started thinking about all the birds that I've seen through the years. So what I did is the final 7 pieces I did for this exhibition, it's based on birds that I've seen around New Mexico. So you've got this little tiny elf owl here, roadrunner, which you see more in southern New Mexico. This thrasher, which is a real intense bird that comes to the feeder and chases everybody else off. This is a Gambel's quail. You see these more out in the country. They're very expressive birds. They kind of go in these packs and they make this really funny noise. Down here we've got the common raven, which we have in Santa Fe. He's found this little spring, which he's really proud of. Right here, it's the mourning dove. There are a lot of, I think there are 3 or 4 different types of doves in New Mexico, but he's kind of listening. And then finally over here we have a scrub jay, which we see, again, not in the city. They're a dark blue. What I've done with these birds is I carve the form and then I also wrap them in the mountain bike inner tube. And for highlights, I used those inserts that I got from the inner tubes. This red is from a mountain bike. I love this owl's eyes. That also is the insert in the mountain bike inner tube. The premise for the show was really to start working with larger work, seeing if the material didn't overwhelm the pieces. I don't think it does, even though black can be a challenge to work with. But the work is larger, their actions are more complex, and from here, probably what I'll be doing is more groupings of animals together in the future.